Prophet ﷺ also said that I have forgiven the return of every favor that anyone has done for me, apart from the favor of Abu Bakr. His favor will be returned for him by Allah on the Day of Judgment. Sayyidina Abu Bakar Siddique, anhu, one title of his was Atiq, and the ulama have given various opinions about why. Some say that his name was Atiq. Others say that the dominant opinion is that his name was not Atiq, it was a title, and various reasons. One reason was that he was very beautiful. And how, alhamdulillah, he had this in his personality, that not only was he wise, but physically his appearance was, he was a handsome man. And some give the reason that he was told that he is free from the fire of hell, so that's another reason why he referred to as Atiq. Another reason they give is, before he embraced Islam, he did not have any bad habits. He would not drink alcohol, and there are narrations about this. Someone asked him, why did you not drink alcohol? And he said, I did not drink alcohol even before Islam, because by drinking alcohol, the one who drinks alcohol, he loses his respect and dignity. And I did not want this to happen. In other words, this is not the way of the noble people. This is not the way of the shurafa. So I refrained from drinking alcohol, even before embracing Islam. So it is almost as if Allah Almighty chose one of the best of the people to be the close friend and companion of His beloved Prophet ﷺ. Allah did not want any normal person to be a beloved friend and companion of His beloved ﷺ. He chose a person who had all these beautiful qualities, who was Atiq, who was Siddique. Whatever the Prophet ﷺ said, he would accept without any doubt. And the Prophet ﷺ said that there were many people, when I spoke to them about Islam or I preached to them, they had some doubts and they expressed their doubts, and then I convinced them. But Abu Bakr was one of those. Abu Bakr was the one, when I invited him to Islam, he did not express any doubt, he accepted straight away. Sayyidina Abu Bakar Siddique radiallahu ta'ala, if you want to look at the history of why, then the ulama have written that how he inquired about the final prophet, and he gained knowledge of how a final prophet would come, and that he would have certain qualities, and then he saw these qualities in the Prophet ﷺ. That's another account. But the fact is that he accepted straight away. Another famous account which expresses the nature, his Siddiq nature, the fact that he would accept and believe in what the Prophet ﷺ said, and he was honest and truthful himself, was when the Prophet ﷺ performed the Mi'raj. The kuffar gathered around him and they said, have you heard what your friend has been saying? He has been saying that he went from Masjid al-Haram to Masjid al-Aqsa in a part of the night. Do you believe that? Do you believe that? Is that possible? And Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddique radiallahu ta'ala anhu said that if the Prophet ﷺ said that, I believe it. He said, fools, he said to them, you foolish people, I have believed in greater things. In the fact that Allah, He is a Prophet of Allah, the revelation of Allah comes onto him. So believing in him being, traveling from one place to another, covering such a great distance is nothing for me. I have believed in greater things. And this affected the kuffar a lot. Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddique radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Remember that I told you to imagine about how if you became poor and if you did not have a lot, and what would happen if you did not have friends. Now Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddique, an established man, a rich man, a man who is very popular, who was well loved by his people, when he embraced Islam, suddenly people turn against him, as they did with the Prophet ﷺ. He has wealth, but he begins to spend that wealth in the way of Allah, Almighty, to please the Prophet ﷺ. He is freeing the Muslim slaves. He is presenting his wealth in the court of the Prophet ﷺ for the affairs of religion, for the jihad, for the ghazwa. He is presenting. Sayyidah Aisha says that he had 40,000 dirham. Some even say dinar. And when he went to Medina, he only had 5,000. Some say, and the famous narration mentioned in Tirmidhi and Abu Dawood, that when Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he made an intention, a firm intention, that today I will proceed, I will be better than Abu Bakr. And he decided, he made this intention that he was going to give a certain amount of money and present money in the court of the Prophet ﷺ, his wealth. So what did he do? He gathered half his wealth and he went to the Prophet ﷺ and he presented half of his wealth to the Prophet ﷺ. But Sayyidina Abu Bakr, he's Abu Bakr. So what did he do? He presented his wealth, not half, not 3/4, everything in the court of the Prophet. And the Prophet ﷺ asked him, "Oh, Abu Bakr, what have you left for your family?" And he said, "I have left them Allah and His Messenger." Voluntary action, accepting and embracing poverty for the religion, and having no ill feeling about this. You know, some people, they give in the way of Allah, and just say if they give 40 or 50 pounds or even 100 pounds, they just can't help. No one knows. It wasn't announced. Or in some way or in some form, they will express this deed to someone. It may not even be the topic of conversation. Because they've given 100 pounds or 200 pounds, it's in there, it's troubling them. I've given so much, someone must know. So they said, yeah, and this and that. Oh yeah, I gave 200 pounds to the masjid. They needed some money for the library, and I gave that. So normal people, it's very difficult for them to do something great or donate in the way of Allah and just keep it to themselves. We're not talking about people who give with good intention and they let it be announced so that others are encouraged. We're not questioning that. But we're talking about general. Generally, when people give and they want it to be announced, do you really think they're doing it for encouragement? Hand on heart, they will say, no, we really want people to know. Unfortunately, this is the state of affairs for the general Muslims today. Sayyidina Abu Bakr gave everything. Everything. And then, once he was wearing a robe, and instead of buttons, he had thorns. Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam descended and he conversed with the Prophet ﷺ, and he said to the Prophet ﷺ, why is Abu Bakr wearing a robe which he has tied with a thorn? And the Prophet ﷺ said, Abu Bakr has given all his wealth in the way of Allah. Sayyidina Jibreel said, Ya Rasulullah, tell Abu Bakr that Allah sends salam upon him.